Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now, Kevin Magnussen is one of those drivers that seems to divide opinion massively among F1 fans. He is very much seen as the bad boy of the sport, and given some of the incidents he's been involved in during his time in Formula 1, you can kind of understand why. For me though, rather than him being the bad boy, I just feel he is the most frustrating driver on the grid. Over the course of the winter, I criticised him heavily for his 2017. I did feel, and still do, that he had a very poor season last year. So during the build-up to 2018, I felt like he was almost undeserving of his seat, and that his teammate Romain Grosjean would absolutely destroy him this year. Yet he's gone on and proved me completely wrong. And that's great. I said over the winter, I said it about Stroll and Sirotkin and Magnussen. As much as I criticised them, I wanted them to go on and prove me wrong, because as fans, we're the ones that benefit from that. So far in 2018, in my personal opinion, he has been one of, if not the, standout performer. His drive in Australia for me was exceptional right up until that pit stop cock-up, of course, which obviously was not his fault at all. He had good weekends in Bahrain and China, not quite to the same level. And for me, his best performance of the season came last weekend in Spain, where he picked up that 6th place, taking his and the team's tally to 19 points this year. His teammate, not a single one. And I think it's only fair that he gets given the credit that he fully deserves for his performance so far in 2018. The thing is though, what puts people off is that one minute you'll look at him and think, wow, this guy is driving brilliantly. And then the next minute you're just like, and are just so confused and, like I keep saying, frustrated with some of his decision making. Going back to 2017 for a minute, and you look at the incident in Hungary with Hülkenberg, which of course, as we know by now, led to that famous comment. But another example is the move on Perez in Belgium, which led to the Mexican referring to Magnussen as dirty. And they are just two examples from last season. Coming into 2018, it looked as though, based on his first couple of races, that he'd managed to get rid of that side of his driving. But then you look at what happened in Baku with Gasly. Now, he's saying that he didn't see Gasly in his mirrors. I don't believe that for a second. He puts the squeeze on him at the safety car restart. There's contact. That is a very dangerous move. And at that point, you could say maybe he didn't see him in his mirrors. But then a few metres down the road, he's then making a move to defend, squeezing him towards the pit wall. So he clearly knew he was there. And all of that, of course, led to Gasly referring to him as one of the most dangerous drivers he's ever driven against. I cannot defend him on that move at all. And then we move on to Spain, and people are actually very divided on this one. Some say Leclerc doesn't need to be making that move in practice, but I agree with those that are saying that Kevin Magnussen doesn't need to be defending that position in practice. The move he makes to defend is late, it is dangerous, it is stupid, and entirely unnecessary. Quite what he thinks he's doing there, I have no idea. But that's the sort of stuff that he's got to iron out if he wants to progress in his Formula 1 career, because it is clear to everybody, based on this year alone, that he's got the talent to go far in the sport. Now, I'm not talking world championships, and although I do think that Ferrari might take a look at him for next season if he continues performing, I don't even think they would take him on. But he could have a long career in Formula 1 if he stops making these bad decisions. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to see aggression in Formula 1. We want to see drivers taking risks, pushing it to the limit. But by doing that, they've got to stay within the rules, and they can't be putting other people at risk because of their silly decisions. He comes under a lot of criticism from his fellow drivers, and whether or not he will ever admit it or not, it is important that you have respect from other drivers on the grid. But he's not going to get that with some of the things he does. I mean, his team boss Gunther Steiner believes that drivers are picking on the Dane just for every little indiscretion. But of course they are, because what's seen as a small indiscretion to Gunther Steiner or Kevin Magnussen is seen as a hugely dangerous move by drivers, fans, teams alike. So of course they're going to pick on him for that, but it's also because of this bad boy tag, and he's never going to shake that. There are drivers who have done some pretty bad things in Formula 1 who have gone on to do very good things, but are always remembered for the negative. And that is almost certainly something he will be stuck with for the rest of his career. Whether or not he enjoys that or not, I don't know. When you listen to people around Formula 1, they all say he's a really nice guy away from the track. But obviously we don't see a lot of that side of him. We see what happens on the racetrack. And of course, I touched on it there. There are drivers throughout Formula 1 history that have done a hell of a lot worse than Kevin Magnussen has ever done. The problem is, his indiscretions are a lot more commonplace. They happen a lot more frequently. And that's why he's got this reputation. Look, I could stand here all day and talk about all the negatives around Kevin Magnussen, but the guy deserves a huge amount of credit, as I've already said in this video, and as I've said multiple times this season, for what he's done so far in 2018. Again, as I said earlier, he is for me the standout performer so far of this season, and I genuinely believe he will continue that momentum through the course of the season. He's got his teammate right where he wants him. It's likely now the team will see him as the number one driver, and that's going to give him huge benefits within the team. So if he keeps delivering these positive performances and stops making these moves that result in such criticism and there being so much negative air around him, his 2018 season will undoubtedly go from strength to strength. They are, of course, just my opinions on Kevin Magnussen, but what are yours? Do you think he deserves a lot more credit for his start to 2018? Or do you think people are right to be criticising his driving style? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will be back, of course, with more content soon. But in the meantime, you can follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.